Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome to Double9Radio. How you doing today?
I'm good.
Fantastic.
It's evening here. It's evening. Yeah, good evening.
It's good evening. Uwanile.
Oh, Anile,
Uwanile. Good evening. You know what? I've been practicing that. I was like, you know what? I need to get it right. I need to get it right because, like, it's just amazing when you say it. When you say it, it just blows my mind away as well. I want to say a big thank you for, taking time out to come on the show this evening.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Fantastic. But I'm sure my listeners, I'm sure they already know where it is. They already know where it is. But I'm sure they're wondering, why is Double 9 so excited again? Yes, my listeners, you know I'm always excited when I have amazing guests on the show. And we always bring you amazing guests on the show. And we have a special one today. So without further ado, please tell us, who do we have on the show today?
My next Chigul, a.k.a. Chioma Omera, a.k.a. your one and only. Hello, Wanile. Hi, what's up?
Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, I am super blown away. It's the one and only Chigul. Yes, the one and original only Chigul. Thank you again for coming on the show. I don't know how I'm going to do this interview today. I don't know how, because I'm already sweating. I'm already buzzing. I'm already super excited to have you on the show. So you must bear with me.
I'm excited.
You must bear with me. Okay, fantastic. Okay, thank you again for coming on the show. But for those who think, oh my God, Chigul, we've always seen her on Instagram. We've always seen her online. We've seen her shows. We've seen her great things that she's been doing. If you also say to anyone, or anyone asks you the question, who is Chigul, what would you say?
Whenever people ask me, okay, who are you? Because the thing about it is, my name is Chioma Omera. Chigul was a name that came from, I don't even know, I'm not even sure how that name came about, but it's part of the history of me going from my 9 to 5 to being a comedian or an entertainer. But if anybody asks me, like, to describe myself, I always just say, you know what, I'm a singer-songwriter, comedian, host, MC, and literally, I'm entertainment on 2 feet. That's what I call myself. I'm living, breathing. It's like watching a living, breathing television that walks around. And that's what I am, because I like to entertain people and I get a joy from making people happy and making people smile. And so I'm literally like entertainment. Yeah. I believe
that. And I definitely agree. You're entertainment all through and through. What you do, entertainment, 100%. You can never get bored. To be your friend. Like now, Double 9 is your friend, so I can never get bored because I have Chigul
Double 9
as my
friend.
You
never know.
Fantastic.
That is it.
Fantastic. I'm going to be saying that a lot today, so please just bear with me.
It means world, people. It means the world. The world. That's what it means. Uwanile means the, so it's like literally like say hello world. So it's Uwanile. So you have to say like Uwanile morning, Uwanile hi, Uwanile bye, Uwanile. You have to greet Uwanile because Uwanile is listening to you. So Uwanile was up,
Fantastic. Yeah. Uwanile. Oh my God, I'm going to be singing as well before the end of the show because you're having this great influence on me this evening. So what inspires you, Chigul? Tell me, what is that inspiration behind you, that makes you want to get up in the morning and make people laugh? What inspires you?
It's weird, like, because when I tell people, my story and I say how comedy kind of like happened to me, because I was literally minding my business. I lived in the US for 12 years. I was teaching high school, teaching French in the US. I moved back to Nigeria at my father's request in 2006. And I always do these voices because I have like 13 characters in my head. They all 13 have different accents. And Chigul happened to be one of them. So one day I was lying down in my bed in my house in Abuja in 2009, I believe, and the song Kilode just came, because it wasn't like I was planning it. I literally was in my bed, I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
So then I just said, Chigul, you can't sleep. I was like, why? Hello, Setan Kilode. So I remember the song Kilode, Setan Kilode, that my auntie had taught us in a couple of years before that. And it just made me laugh. So I just started to sing it, and I introduced myself as Chioma, C-Flow, Chigul. Nobody else remembered any other name I used. They remembered Chigul. So that Chigul name stuck. And then the voice note, because it was on BlackBerry Messenger, so the voice note went viral. Everybody was listening to it. Somebody even sent it to me from America, like, oh, there's this girl called Chigul. She's really funny. And I was like, okay, yeah. So I just didn't say anything.
Yeah.
But it was me. And then I just started doing silly songs on BlackBerry Messenger, and they kept going viral. And and here we are. And then I did a comedy show where I went on stage for the first time, so people saw my face and associated the face with a voice, and as they say, the rest is history.
Amazing.
So here we are.
Amazing. So, I mean, you didn't choose comedy. Comedy chose you.
Yeah, I did not choose comedy. Because I sing jazz. So I wanted to sing jazz, and I wanted to be an actor. There were the two things I wanted to do. But this comedy thing sort of like happened, and as God would have it, which is what I believe, God is using that very door of comedy to open me up to the world, to showcase my other, all the talents that I have. And it's been an amazing ride thus far.
It is. So, I mean, before you actually even got into comedy and thought, you know what, I want to, at that moment where you recorded your first, skit, I should say, did you, was there any performance you saw, like a movie that you saw that made you think, wow, I want to do that, or I want to be a comedian, or, you know what I mean? Is there something you watch or a movie that inspired you?
Double9, let me tell you the Double9 truth. The Double9 truth is that this comedy thing, I wasn't even thinking about it at all.
Wow.
People say I wasn't thinking about it cha, as in at all. It was not anywhere in my shadow. It was like I wasn't thinking about it. They wasn't concerned. I was like, comedy for where? I was like, I do the things I do. People laugh at me when I do just my shenanigans. Yeah. But I didn't think comedy would be a way I was making a living, or would be a thing that I would now put on take on a box and say career comedian or entertainment. Amazing. I just wanted to, if the best thing I wanted to do on the side, it was going to be acting and singing, and I was maybe teaching my French to kids, which I love teaching, and I wanted to do that or do something in that, whatever. But it never, for the life of me, did comedy ever come up as an option for career choice.
Amazing.
It just happened, and I'm just like, walking the door, just keep walking the door until I even quit my job. And so then when I quit my job to pursue this full time, I was not like, oh, okay, yeah, so this is it's going to be our bread.
Amazing.
Bread now.
Amazing. So definitely comedy chose you. Never chose comedy. That's such amazing.
Exactly.
Okay, I mean, you mentioned about teaching just there. Now, I mean, I understand you speak about 5 languages, isn't it?
I speak 2 Nigerian languages, and then I speak French, and I taught myself Spanish for 1 year.
Wow.
So my Spanish is a little rusty, but it's still there. And then I speak Igbo and Hausa, and of course English. So that's 5 languages. So apart from English, 4. And then I have introductory levels of other ones that I was learning, because I went back to school at the time and I was learning Swahili. Italian, Fulani, Arabic, about 2 more. I just was doing that just because.
Amazing. Yeah. Okay, just going back a bit further, you mentioned about you lived in the States for about 12 years, I presume you're in a job, you're doing stuff, but you came back to Nigeria because, Daddy said, you know what, come back to Nigeria as well. How was that transition? Was that challenging for you to, adapt back?
Very.
Sorry?
That was, because my father just called. I was like, okay, so I'm sending you ticket money to get on the plane and come back to Nigeria. And in my head, I'm thinking like, what? Like, go back to Nigeria to do what exactly? Like, I've lived here for 12 years. I went to college. I started working, things like that. And I was like, this guy in Nigeria, go back to Nigeria for what? And he was like, you know what, come. He had ideas that we were going to go into business together, because I spoke French and he was working on some inter-francophone country, sort of like export and import business.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, they just took light to my house. I know this is the buzz of my UPS, so please excuse it. It happens in Nigeria. It's a way of life. Yes. Up net, my brother, up nepa. So when he said that to come home, I was like, okay, I didn't have a choice. So I came home, but sadly, my father passed away a month after I got home.
Wow.
So that just kind of like threw my plans in the air. So I was literally like stuck doing I did one odd job here and there. And then I auditioned for the first ever season of West African Idol, which was held in Lagos. And I did that. I was doing a play. I was doing a play with my father that I had to be on stage 2 days after that and make children laugh and do my music and sing and all those things. So it just became sort of like, you know what, let me just one by one put in front of the other, because after my father died, you sort of like feel uncovered and you sort of like feel like, what am I going to do now? Because I felt like life was literally going to be over. But when I woke up the next morning after I heard that he had passed away, and I woke up the next morning and I said, okay, so I'm alive, right? Okay, great. So that means there's more purpose. Amazing. There's something that I have to be doing. There's something for me. So I just decided to put one foot in front of the other, and with the help of people in my life, like my older brother, who's my manager, we decided to sort of like try and develop this thing and build it and take it to another level, which is what we're in the process of doing now.
Amazing. I mean, that's such an inspiring story, because a lot of people will probably just break down. Do you know what I mean? Because, I mean, your dad passed away. You had a show 2 days after, and you still went for the show, performed it, and you know, made a fantastic show. I mean, it's such inspiring for anyone listening there that, you know, you can, you know, take that step forward when things seem a bit down as well. And I really commend you for that as well. But, you know, you're back in Nigeria now, 12 years in the US, coming back to Nigeria. The system is different, infrastructure is different. Talk us through, you know, those early years of finding your feet in the industry. You know, how was that? You know, were you able to just, you know, walk in and say, you know what, Chigul is here, I'm taking over? How was that?
No, I did not. Because, first of all, I must say that when people talk about, you know, struggles in our industry, as we call it, I must say that I feel like I've sort of had it easy, because I started as a voice that became a viral voice note, that became a voice that did silly songs that made people laugh, and then I put a face to the voice, and so it was almost like people wanted Chigul to do things. Can Chigul come in a movie? Can Chigul come and do, even if it's Waka Pass or just one day in a film? Can Chigul? And then so I sort of like, and funny enough, all the men, as I like to call them, were very welcoming with regards to putting me on their show. My first ever show was with Basket Mouth when I did Lord of the Ribs, and that was my first ever show. Like, I still have how many years ago that was, and I still have a high from thinking about how amazing that was.
Amazing.
So all the boys were very welcoming. They were very open to me. They welcomed me, you know, and so it was just one of those things where I didn't necessarily feel like I had to struggle. Now, the thing is, you now look at an industry like this where there aren't too many women doing this comedy thing. It's really male dominated, and if anything, it would be nice to see more sisters and more of my sisters and more females get out there and showcase the talent that they have. It would be amazing. So if you wanted to ask me about a challenge, I don't know if I'll call it a challenge, but it would just be nice if a lot more of us got a little bolder and a little more, you know, assured, and bring out your talent. Let people see. Let people see what you have. You know, you just can't be behind. But I'm also so glad that people are doing things behind the camera, like you're on Instagram, and they're doing things. Some of them are skit queens, and they're just doing stuff. But, you know, we want to see more of that. You know what I'm saying? Because comedy is not just one genre of comedy. Comedy itself is a genre, but there's so many other aspects of comedy. You know what I mean? So anybody, and anybody can do anything. If you feel like you have a talent or a passion for it, then push it and just keep doing. And which is what I try to spread to the rest of the world, and I try to do myself. Because you just got to keep pushing. When you're ready to diversify your brand. You know what I'm saying?
Amazing.
Take it to the next level. Take it to the next level. Yeah.
Oh, I need like, oh my God, you're blowing my head. You know, the way I'm blown away. I'm blown away, as I look and say. I mean, well, you're quite right. You know, women need to, you know, be more, you know, within that comedy scene. You know, because not a lot of women. I try and wonder why. Because, you know, we got like the likes of Helen Paul. You know, she's doing amazing things.
Yeah, you know? she's an amazing. Yeah.
You know, she's doing her own thing, right? We got the likes of Chigul as well, who came in with a bang, and it's just, you know, it's different flavors and stuff like that. But why do you think there's a challenge to have more women within the comedian, you know, entertainment industry?
I think it's just one. I think you have to be self-assured. Like Helen is. There are so many others. There are people who were doing this thing before we came on board. There's Mandy, there's Princess, there's Lepasho's Bosse, there was Helen, there's so many of those women. Mandy was doing this. Mandy, her name is Mandy. She's been doing this thing for like over 20 years. You know what I mean? Yeah. She was there when the boys were there, when Alibaba was out there. Those people have been doing this thing, and they're the ones that sort of like, you know what? They're our Niger comedians, as people like to call them. And I'm like, you know what? So they literally paved the way. Helen has been doing this stuff since forever, so she paved the way. Lepasha has been doing this thing forever. She paved the way. You know, Princess, they've been doing this thing forever. So they made it easy for me to come and have a soft landing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that when other people, other females, when they ask us, oh, you know, how do you do this? I'm like, look, it's not about how do I do this. It's like, listen, we have social media now. We have Instagram. Once upon a time, there wasn't any of these things. Like your comedy was either they were calling you, somebody that maybe seeing you at a show. Now the show is right there, social media. Your show is your phone. Your show is the people who look at you when you do the stuff you do on Instagram and any other social media platform. So put your show out there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And one day somebody will be like, oh, I need this one. And I like this. So there's so many of them now doing skits. I mean, look at Wafai Father. Look at Calabar Chick. Look at Real Worry Pekin. Look at all of these people that have come out, you could say afterwards, who have actually been doing some stuff before we even were doing stuff. Amazing. But maybe they just didn't. Maybe it wasn't there. People say time and chance happened to us all. So maybe it wasn't their time, it wasn't their chance at that time. But I think what happens is at the time you might not be recognized or be seen. That might be your growing time. That might be your building time. That might be just, energizing yourself and your passion and what you want to do. So when you do come out, you come out with a big bang. And so I'm so proud of those, all my sisters who are doing all the things that they do, and big up to every one of them, and those of them who are still waiting and not sure. Listen, if you have a talent and the world, that it's not going to rest in your phone, it's not going to rest in your house. If there's a talent that you feel like the world needs to see, put it out there, let the world see it. You might get a couple of no's, but surely, one day that yes will come. But you have to be ready when that yes comes.
Amazing.
So you got to build. You have to keep building.
Amazing. I mean, that's so true. It's so true and it's so inspiring. You're quite right because, we have a lot of talented people in Africa, in all over the world, especially women as well who have this great talent. But sometimes I always think maybe the society also is part of the reason they kind of like shy away from, putting themselves out there. I don't know if would you agree with that?
Say that again. The
society sometimes hinders, women because they have this notion of what women should be like or what women should conform to, and that somehow hinders or discourages women from coming out. Would that something you would agree to?
I feel like that used to be a situation, and of course there are places where you're dealing with maybe your parents don't want you to do this as a career. They will just want you to marry and have children and settle down in a house. But people are marrying and having children and still pushing their careers forward. Yeah. People are whether it be whatever aspect of life you want to be in, whether you're an accountant or you're an architect or you're whatever it is you want to do, you can do that and still be a mother and a wife and whatever it is. Helen Paul, once again, here we go. Mandy has how many children? Lolo One has 4 children. Helen Paul is a wife and a PhD holder and a comedian. So you can do whatever you want to do. There's nothing that should be holding you back. At this point, this is 2021 where we don't have those things. There's issues in some houses, but they're not anymore because I think our parents' generation beginning to see that this thing called entertainment is a moneymaker. It's a career path. It's a choice. It might not be sure, but the thing about it is one place where once you come into it, you have to keep giving it your all so that you continue to remain consistent and visible and what's the word I'm looking for? Valid and bringing value in that place that you are. So you just got to keep working at it.
Amazing.
And what I say to everyone.
And you are the one. You are showing that. In everything you're doing. I mean, if I look at your CV of your achievements, if I look at the stage play you've done. Husband's Wife, The Bold Soprano, The Lion King, A Voice of Ella, End Times, Adar, The Country, a musical, amazing. And we go to film and television. We're talking about the Omogeto Saga. We're talking about Wedding Party 2 as well. Yeah. I mean, what was that transition like from comedy to movie? What was the journey like? Was it a difficult one?
It was always, the thing with because I get to sort of play, and when it started that way where I was playing a comedic character in a film. So I was always bringing Chigul elements into a movie, right? Yeah. They want the person to sound like Chigul. They want her to be Igbo and very strong accent and very music in her way, which is fine and which I'll do because it's what brought me out here and is what I love. But at the end of the day, as an actor, I love the craft of acting. And I want to do more. I want to be versatile. I don't want to be boxed in. I don't want to be a one-type character. I don't want to always be the funny chick or the funny Igbo chick or the fat funny chick. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be labeled. I want to be that Chioma can give us drama. Chioma can give us comedy. Chioma can give us, she can be the antagonist. She can be the protagonist, whatever it is. I want to be able to do those things and do them to the best of my ability. I want people to be able to see me in different kind of roles. And I want to be able to play those roles with my full chest and my whole heart. I know that, listen, I know what I'm doing and I do it well, right? Yeah. So where I am at this point in my life is we're doing a lot more things. And I did a film called Eyimo Fair, which I played a sex trafficker. And this film wasn't fun. It wasn't Chigul like at all. it was, and it's done its round in the film circuit in Europe, like the Berlin Film Festival and Film Festival. So things like that, I want to start to explore other characters and play other characters and sort of, help myself and show myself that I'm more than just the funny girl or the funny Igbo girl or the Chigul character. Chigul is a character, and I thank God that she came into my life at the time and what she's doing. But there are 13 people in my head. So sometimes the other characters, which I showcase every now and then on Instagram, I want people to know that there's so much more about me. So the accents and things like that. So I can give you 13 different kinds of accents. You know what I mean? You need to know that I'm not just...
You know what the next question is, isn't it? Because I actually saw one of your clips where you were talking about... it was I'm trying to bring out the accent. Actually, it was an American chick who went into a store to buy some hair, and she was like,
oh yes, that's Cindy from the Valley. That's
Cindy from the Valley.
American girl. Yeah, and she likes to buy hair, and she likes to twirl her hair in her fingers like that. You know what I mean? Like totally. So that's her. So so she's one of the 13 in my head.
Amazing.
So I want to be able to just show people that there's more to it than just what Chigul. There's more than Chigul. There's a whole lot more.
So this 13, can you give us an insight of, okay, we've known Cindy from the Valley now. We know Chigul. So tell us more.
Okay, we do another character. Her name is Lady Cat. And she goes, oh, hello, and she goes, she likes all things that are non-common, she's very posh, she lives in the city of Poshbury, and she's at the Poshbury Manor, and she has a friend called Lady Edith, so that's her, her name is Lady Catherine, and she goes, oh, hello, and she says, things like, you people say hello, but she says hello, and how hello, she tells you how to form the word, you think of what's on your head, some hair. What do you breathe in and out? Air. And a fox lives in his lair. Put them three together and you have yeah.
Amazing.
So that's Lady Catherine.
Amazing.
So that's Lady Catherine. And I do a little British boy, yeah. His name is Devin. And he goes, I like colour red and I like to play outside with my friends, yeah. And I talk to my mum, yeah. And she goes, yeah, sure, Devin, you can get outside. And I like the colour red and I like playing with my friends, yeah. And that's Devin.
Amazing, amazing. That's talent. That is so much talent. Have you ever lived in the UK? Have you lived here in the UK?
Never.
Wow.
I've transited, like I've gone through the UK, but I've never. Every time if I hear an accent, I want to learn it. So there is something I'm working on like that because I haven't seen any. I haven't sort of introduced any of the characters. I'm still trying to perfect them. But the 13 that I do easily are the ones that I've sort of I'm either around or have friends who are British. I have friends who are American. I live in America. And then there's the Igbo, there's the Hausa, there's Yoruba, there's an Indian because I grew up watching Indian movies and things like that. So there's the Indian woman. Yeah, there's the French lady because I speak French. There's Juanita Chiquita, she's Latina. But she also speaks the English, but with an accent. Do you understand? Wow. So she's the other one. There's a lot of them in my head.
Amazing. I mean, this is talent. Talent. We can't wait to have you in the UK to come perform live. We're hoping.
That would be so amazing. Even though, when you say things like live, it's on YouTube. I did my first try. I wanted to try out a cabaret style show. So I did one in 2019 in October. And it was well received, because literally we just did music. I told stories about my life, and I would insert music and some songs I would revamp and put my own words in it. So I had a little bit of a Nigerian twist. And then I would sing actual songs, and then I ended up with singing a song. So it was a really nice 1 hour, 20-minute stand-up show, but it was cabaret style. Amazing. So that is what I'm hopefully getting. I hope another opportunity to do that again anywhere. I'll do it outside on the main road in Chokos, and I'll do it outside. Just stand by the tree and just do a show. Hello, everybody, please watch me. Come and watch. So yeah.
I can't wait. I am so much looking forward to that, and hopefully, the pandemic does go away, and people, will be looking at that as well. So I mean, talking about movie roles, what was the first movie role you actually got into? What was the first one that Chigul is coming and she's getting into movies? What was the first one?
And it wasn't even like a Chigul character. I think it was Road to Yesterday with Genevieve and Najee. It was one of the first few movies I did when I moving back to Nigeria. And I don't remember what year we made it, but it's on Netflix. It's called The Road to Yesterday, and I played her friend, her best friend. So it's not a Chigul role because I didn't do any funny things. I was just regular friend chick. And then there's Banana Island Ghost, which is my first feature film where I played lead role. Now that was full on comedy. I sang a bit. I did regular talking. So that's another one. And then of course Chief Daddy and wedding, the Wedding Party 2. I did a movie called Market Must Sell. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere out there in this world, in the space. I don't know where it is. So I've done a couple of things, but the first one ever I think was Road to Yesterday with Genevieve.
Amazing. And which movie role would you say has been the most challenging? Since you started, because you've done a lot. You've done quite a lot of movie roles.
Most challenging for me would probably be Mana Esther and Eyimofe. Eyimofe is a movie where I played the trafficker because it was so removed from Chigul. It was so far away from that character and then I worked with a director because a lot of times with Chigul and Chigul-like characters, you sort of can get away with many things because you just behave like her, you're funny like her, you talk like her, and directors like cut, action and cut, we're done. But with this one, I had to, watch my tone and watch even how my gestures and, and shooting for hours, just one scene and just getting it right. And then when you watch the finished product, I say, oh, wow, okay, this was very different, and it just showed me that I'm good at what I do, but I need to just work some more on my craft.
Amazing.
And which is what we're in the process of doing.
Amazing. And what movie role would you say you played that's most similar, to you? Like, that the real character of you, Chioma. What movie character would you say is similar to yourself?
I think the character of Chioma in Banana Island Ghost. Banana Island Ghost was almost very close to sort of like my story because in the film, her father died. She was trying to raise money to keep the house in Banana Island, and my father passed away. So very, very much almost like my story, and just sort of like being able to give them a piece of Chioma as opposed to Chigul, because Chioma is my full name. So I wanted to see aspects of Chioma, not just Chigul, but I wanted Chioma, the regular talking one. I wanted to give them some Chigul, and I wanted to give them Chioma, the singer, and so I sang in it, and so all of those things. And for me, I think that was the closest I came to something that I would consider almost like my story.
Amazing.
It was very close to home, and I think I was able to deliver a good job. I think it was my first feature film, so for me that was like fast to the ground, I guess. But we did what we could, give it our best shot.
Amazing.
Which is important.
Okay, on that note, we're going to go for a short break, and we shall be back on the other side to find out more about our amazing guest this evening. That's Chigul. I am so excited to have her on the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Fantastic. And make sure you stay locked on, stay locked in. The phone lines are open. Thank you to everyone sending questions already. We will be asking the questions before the end of the show. But, do tell a friend to tell a friend. It's your host, Double9, on Double9Radio. Come back, it's Double9 Radio. It's 1948-09-06 2021. We have the amazing Chigul on the show this evening. Oh my word, I am so blown away to have such an amazing talent on the show. I hope you're having a great time as well. Do remember the show is always interactive, so you can always call in live and have a conversation with her live and direct here on Double9 Radio. The number is 074 956 36899. That's 074 956 36899. You can always call us via WhatsApp or send a text or send a message via WhatsApp as well. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's already sending questions. We will endeavor to ask all those questions before the end of the show. Chigul, hi. I was just saying I'm having an amazing time with you on the show. I am so blown away to have you here on the show. I mean, before the break, we found out a bit more about the 13 acts that you have on this, that the world is yet to see as well. And also we talked about the 5 languages that you can speak, and you're already learning a 6th one as well. And we, touched on how you started to be a comedian from the days of the BBM. I think that's great talent there. I mean, your story should be so inspiring to people. It doesn't matter wherever you are in the world, you can showcase that talent take that bold step and make it happen. I think that's what it is. Okay, so I mean, what sets you apart from there's not a lot of female comedians out there, but if you look at across the pond, maybe somewhere in Africa or even here in the UK in the States as well, what would you say sets your act apart from other female comedians?
I think this is just with a thing that I've learned to tell myself, that there can be, and I think this is just, for me, as I say this now, I say this to anybody out there who's doing something that is your thing. There is no one that can be you. People can be like you, and they can do things similar to you, but there's only one Chigul. There are people who might do things like Chigul. There might be people who can do accents like Chigul does accents, but there's only one Chigul. There will never be more than one. And even if when the Lord says, come on home to heaven, and I go, till tomorrow, there will not be a Chigul. She behaves like Chigul. She does what Chigul does, yes, but Chigul is one. And anything else is a counterfeit. I say that all the time.
I love that. Everything else is a counterfeit. There's only one Chigul. Yeah. And I believe so. You have to be unique in your own way. Do your own thing. Create your own craft. And Chigul is actually doing that. And you've only seen a tip of the iceberg, because I think, there's great things to come out of Chigul. But I mean, Chigul, tell us, on a show where you're possibly performing, what should people expect?
My brand is very home. My brand is very rated, for lack of a better word, my brand is rated G, right? So my brand is feel good for everybody. I think I do something that children will like. I do something that parents will like. I think something that children and parents can sit together and watch and be happy with. And I just literally want people to leave my show feeling lighter, feeling with a smile on their face, feeling like they left their troubles away for a minute. Yeah. And somebody took on a journey, took them to a nice place where things were funny and fuzzy. And that's for me, if you ask KPIs to make sure that I did what I did, is if somebody leaves there with a smile on their face or laughing or whatever, then I've done my job. You know what I mean? And I want people to just laugh. I want people to laugh. I want people to see themselves in my stories, because what I try to do is also tell real stories.
Yeah.
It's very rare because even for me, it's not even necessarily standing on stage and telling jokes. I tell my stories because they just happen to be funny. I tell stories about my experiences with dating, my experiences with my weight loss, my experiences with my family, my experiences with everything. And that's just what my show is made up of. So it's not even like I'm sitting there telling you a joke about how Mr. A went to Mr. B and Mr. C went to Mr. D. No, it's my stories, my life stories. And I think one of the things about comedy is when you find yourself in a story, it's even funnier. When you hear that, or someone who that has happened to, or someone that did that, or someone who lives that life, it's even funnier because it's more natural, because it's something that you know what I mean? Which is what I try to do. And that's I think I try to keep it authentic that way. Because Amazing. You can't have my story. You can't tell my story.
Amazing.
Because it happened to me.
Amazing.
So I'm only going to be able to tell it the way it happened to me. Yeah,
yes, authentic. Exactly. I love that word. Authentic. It's you. It's my story. I'm sharing my story. The way I want to share my story. Exactly. You're in control of your story. You're quite right. Okay,
exactly.
Look at that Nollywood, because you're part of Nollywood, isn't it? You've been an actress. You're an actress. You're an MC. You're a comedian as well. How do you think Nollywood contributes to the shape of Nigeria internationally?
I think because, especially these days, seeing last year and now, African stories are being sought after, and Nollywood is one of the biggest African, if I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong, but one of the biggest movie industries in Africa, and dare I say, on the globe. So I feel like Nollywood, we are, first of all, we're not where we used to be. The wonderful thing about anything is change and it is progress. And I think with Nollywood, I think there's been a change and a shift, and it's going in the right direction. Are we probably where we want to be? Probably not. Maybe not. But are we where we used to be? Definitely not. So there is progress, and there is change, and there is a movement. And it is just about you being a part of this industry to try to take it to another level by making a good film. I want all of the Nigerian films to be able to make it. I want all of the Nigerian films to be watched and liked and admired because they are good. You know, and everybody, every industry, every wood, for lack of a better term, every wood, be it Holly, Nolly, whatever, every wood has good and bad films. But I feel like they're telling African stories now, and we are getting to tell our own stories now. So I think we're doing what we need to do, and we're starting to do what we need to do in order for those stories to be told. And we just need to continue to change the narrative of what Nollywood is like. You know, we're moving from Juju and Wicked Stepmother and all these things to telling actual, proper stories of history. And you just talked about a movie with Enyi now. You know, that's a different shift from where we used to be. You know what I mean? Those movies were very important at the time, and I think they came at a time that was needed, and I think they were made for such a time, right? But we also have to get better. You can't just sit in the same spot, because without evolution, there will be extinction. So you have to change. You have to move. You have to get better, and that's why it behooves you as an actor, or whatever it is you're doing, to perfect your craft. So learn somehow, even though you're learning on the job, teaching yourself, whatever it is, trying to get better, and do what you got to do so that Nollywood will continue to be Nollywood and be great. And so that one day they'll look at us and be like, you know what, this Nollywood is where I want to be. You know what I mean? But that's a journey that we are taking by ourselves.
Amazing. I mean, it's a great thing you mentioned that film, you know, the IBB, you know, kind of like biopic about, you know, IBB's life. You know, it's called Badamasi, The Portrait of a General. I think he is actually put a lot in a lot of work. He done the first Obi Emenole, if I said that right. Hopefully he's going to hold me down. You know, he put a lot of work in the film he done. He used a bit of CGI, and this is the progress you're talking about. You know, the progress in the way of, you know, creating great films, telling the Nigerian story, and I think that's the way. Okay, I'm going to quickly go to some of the questions that have come in. I'll ask the first question from Grace in London. You know, Grace says, if you could change anything about the industry, what would it be?
I think if I needed to change anything about the industry, it would have to do with changing situations in the country. Because we have a lot of struggles we face in filmmaking, like the lack of electricity, like people taking advantage and charging you money that you cannot afford when you're trying to do something that shouldn't cost that much. So it will have to be a mindset change of the way things are run in the country, because people get away with things that they get away with because they're allowed to. So people, obviously, we don't have lights. It's a problem. So that causes major hiccup when you're trying to shoot a film. So you have to now move to somewhere that's far away. That's none of the logistic costs. So it causes, you know, it causes problems, and we don't have funding for those things. Not everybody's able to get money from a grant or whatever to make a film. So funding is a problem. Financing is a problem. And then just Nigeria as a place is not very conducive because of all the things that we have to face on a daily basis. So you face the situation of no light, no this, no that on a daily basis, not just as a filmmaker. But then you want to now be a filmmaker. You're hiring staff. You want to pay for sets. We don't have studios here, so you're paying for sets. You're paying for rental of a house. You're paying for rental of cars. You're paying for rental of camera equipment. You're paying for. So imagine all of that, and this is where you're trying to make a film and make money from. Come on now. So the struggle is enormous. But we always, as Nigerians, we are one of our best traits is getting by. But we always get by somehow. We always sort of like get by, which is a good and bad thing. Bad thing. But we manage as we do. We manage. We're managers. So Nigeria as a whole is a managing country.
I know.
So we manage.
I know, but I mean, the way you describe it, that and Nigerians are able to still bring out great productions. Imagine they had all the tools, you know, and all the support. You can imagine what kind of movies that can be produced out of Nollywood. You know,
exactly.
Hopefully things will change. Okay, another question from Tammy from Ireland. She's asking, what is one of? Sorry, I apologize. Could be a guy as well. What is one of your defining moments?
One of my defining moments.
Yes.
I think my TED Talk in London, 2014.
Okay, fantastic.
Because it went so well, I was not expecting it to go that well. Because first of all, when you hear TED Talks, you think it's something serious. They want to talk about. You see the TED Talk, and they talk about this, they talk about politics, they talk about this, they talk about that. And then when they called me, I was like, what do you want me to do on this stage? For God's sake, like, why are you calling me TED Talk? What am I going to talk to TED about? What are me and TED going to discuss? Hello, TED is not one. Like, TED is just saying somebody, So then, but I started talking one minute. So, but I did my TED Talk. I talked about my life and growing up and being a failure, but turning my failure to success as my life went. You know what I mean? And my life trajectory. And it was so well received. I still get a high from thinking about that even today, because I think for me, whenever people want, because the TED Talk was me. If you wanted to know anything about me, watch my TED Talk. Amazing. Just go watch the TED Talk on YouTube and go watch it. How many years ago? Yes, watch it. That's how you know who I am. That's how you know what makes me tick. That's how you see me in my element.
Great. Okay, I got another question. This one has no name, but it's from Hendon, which is in North London. Here says, what's the most courageous thing you've ever done?
Courageous. I think for me, talking about, I went through a medical situation between 2018 and September 2019. I had a situation where I had a surgery that caused an infection in my spine. So I was in chronic pain every single day of my life for almost a year. I went through depression, and I went through even suicidal thoughts, like almost committing suicide. And the only reason why I didn't commit suicide was because I was in too much pain to get up and go get a glass of water to pop pills. That's why I didn't, So for me, talking about that, because I don't necessarily, I do, Instagram is my marketplace, is my job space, but I'm also very careful about what I want the world to know about me. But I felt like, if someone knows that this thing, that it's not okay it's okay if you're not okay every time.
Yeah.
It's okay to not be okay sometimes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I needed people to know that I had times when I wasn't okay. And I wasn't able to post anything happy. And I wasn't able to post anything funny because I slept in a chair for 6 months. I could, every time I had to travel, it was wheelchair service. I used a cane for a little bit. You know what I mean? I wasn't pain medication, 4 kinds of pain medications every day. It wasn't easy. You know what I mean? But we got through it one day at a time. Yeah. One day at a time, one moment at a time. I felt like I was in a tunnel. So for me, being able to talk about it, I was like, you know what, trauma, is this not exposing too much? But then I was like, you know what, if people are getting something from my life, from this story about my life, then hey, let's do what we got to do. I've talked about my marriage before, and people didn't know I was married, but I talked about marriage and being divorced and going through all of that, my relationship with my mom. Yeah. And I was like, that's a whole other one. You know what I mean? So those 2 things, if anybody asks me defining moments, and I'm sorry he asked for 1, but I might as well give you 2. But so those 2 moments in my life, I would consider them the most defining, because there were things about me that a lot of people did not know, and having to bring that up for public knowledge was something I had to get through.
Do you know what? I love the way you've answered that question. I'm totally blown away, because a lot of people hide things and don't express themselves, and actually make it a bit worse, for themselves, and don't inspire people. I'm sure there are people possibly listening to you this evening as well. You talked about the suicide thing. A lot of people go through depression and keep it with themselves without, saying it out there. But you're here, expressing that. I'm sure, hopefully, it's inspired someone, and a mindset change has occurred within that person. Because here you're here today now, and what you're doing is making people laugh, making people smile. And also, the great thing you said, it's okay not to be okay. And I think that, you couldn't have said it any better. I think that's just quite amazing. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome. My pleasure.
Okay, so this was a bit a tricky one. This Jamie has been. This is Jamie from Essex. I think he's saying, "What's the most trouble you've ever gotten into?"
Trouble. Wow. Let me see. In my life, I've gone through a lot of trouble. I mean, just as a child, one of the things I used to do was I used to fail a lot. So I used to fail in school really, really, really bad, like repeat class. And my father one time changed my school because he was embarrassed because I was failing. And this is me with full dignity, failing like it was going out of style. Like I was failure's mentor. I was mentoring failure. Like failure came to me and said, "Oh, Chi, how can we be like you?"
Oh my God.
That's how bad it was. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
So I think because I wasn't really a bad child. I was always kind of like on the good side of the law, and I wasn't the one that I was not the bad child that went out or went out to parties or anything like that. I kind of like sort of like I was just always a good girl. But when it came to schoolwork, 0 minus 5. Like I was bad in school. It was I wasn't even up to university. Like it was just horrible. I took the GCEs, I took Cambridge exam, all of which I sort of like barely got by. So even when I was in college, like I had a 7-year college plan because I started with criminal justice. I changed my major after 2 years. And so people were graduating summa cum laude and people were doing magna cum laude, and me, thank you, laude. Like we were barely there. I was like, thank you, Jesus. Let's just get it.
Amen.
Let's just go.
Amen.
Yeah.
Okay, final question from Lammy says, what's the best advice you've been given?
The best advice I've been given?
Yes.
Best advice I've been given. Let me think. I think my brother said this to me when I was going to audition for West African Idol, and my father had just died. And when somebody dies, my friend, your morning, you stay home. You don't go out. You stay home and you wear your black and you chill at the house. But I did my audition, and my brother said to me, make your decision, but also prepare for the repercussions. And I think I sort of like remember that with every single thing that I have done is I do what I do as long as I try to make sure that whatever it is I'm doing in my life does not sideline, does not cause hardship or difficulty for anyone else. But if I choose, the power of choice is I make that choice, but I'm also ready for the possible repercussions, which God so kind have not been that bad thus far. You know what I mean? But I do have that in the back of my head that whatever it is you choose to do, make sure that you're ready for what comes after that choice.
I think it's a great advice because I think it's applicable to everyone. Any choice you make.
To life,
Any choice you make, there's always is almost a reaction to an action, basically. But I think it's a fantastic advice. So, I mean, if you could have a conversation with your younger self, I know you're still young. You're probably about 21 years old or something.
Me? 21? No, 99. I'm grown. No.
She's grown.
I just turned 45.
Oh, wow.
Bless you.
Oh, wow. And you look 21. Amazing.
Oh, well, bless. 99, bless you, honey.
I know.
That's so nice of you to say.
I know.
Maybe you could find me a nice little man over there in the UK.
You never know. They might be listening in.
Hello, hit me up. Slide into my DMs. Hello, Wanile.
Yes, Wanile, they might be listening as well. So, I mean, if you could have a conversation with your younger self, what would that conversation be?
If I had a conversation with my younger self, I would probably tell my younger self that this celebrity life, if you want to call it that, is a very difficult one to navigate. You have to be strong-willed. You have to have a strong backbone, and be ready. And also, do not always expect reciprocity because you will not get it. So whatever you do, just do and be going. Do from the goodness of your heart and be going. And be wise with your love, be wise with your giving, be wise with your kindness. Just be wise because people will take advantage of you if given the opportunity.
Amazing. And any young, actors, actresses, young comedians, who's looking at Chigul and saying, oh my gosh, she's doing amazing. I'm so inspired about her story this evening. What advice would you give them?
I always say this to everyone that I meet, and I think sometimes whenever I leave anything, be it a conversation, be it a situation, I like to leave on a positive note and with a good word. I feel like the young people who might be saying, oh, how can I either be like that or how can you have a passion, pursue that passion, but you also remember that you might have to also, if your passion might not pay you quickly, it might not pay you right now, but don't lose your passion. Have your passion. Sometimes do what you got to do to pay your bills, right? But don't lose your passion. And then hopefully one day, your passion will begin to pay you. And that's the best life ever. But also remember, I'm going to leave you guys with these 3 things. You are beautiful. You are adequate. You are enough. You are BAE. So you are your own bae. So treat yourself with respect. Treat yourself with the best attitude and mindset that you can, because you are important.
You are bae.
You are enough.
You are bae. Yes. You are enough. Okay, Chi, before we say good night, say good morning or good afternoon, depending on from where we're listening in this evening, we want to know a fun fact about you, exclusively live, that no one knows on Double9 Radio.
Fun facts about me?
Yeah, that no one knows. Exclusive.
I'm really an open book, but I really am an open book. But like, okay, fun fact, like I like to build puzzles. I build 3D puzzles.
Oh, wow.
So like I have puzzles, I'll build anything. It's 3D. I can build it up. Like I have a stand in my house where I just have little puzzles. I've gone, there's a store I shop here in Nigeria called Minisa. I've done every puzzle that they have. So they don't have any more because I've done them all. I build cars, I build buildings, I build even a vase, I build different things. Little itty bitty Lego-like things. I like to build puzzles. They really make me happy and they really help me calm my mind. Also, I'm a pretty good dancer, so I like to dance. I like to listen to music, and I'm very eclectic with my choice of music. I just listen to any and everything. I can appreciate Japanese music because you just never know. And one of my fun facts, I don't know if it's to call this a fun fact, but I'm also a foodie. Like I eat anything. I'm not choosy or picky. I'll eat whatever it is. I'll try it out. Try it for the first time. It could crawl, lie, fly, whatever.
Wow.
It's going to be eaten. I'll try it the first time.
Amazing.
Let you know.
Amazing. Uwanile. Oh my gosh.
Uwanile, what's up on 99? Uwanile 99, hello.
Hello.
Uwanile 99, what's up?
I am so happy to be here. Oh my gosh. Anyway, we can't wait to see you in the UK. We shall be holding our fingers and crossing every part of our body and hoping, fingers crossed, we shall see Chi perform live for us. Chigul perform live for us here in the UK. It's possibly going to be an amazing event. I can't wait. Chigul, I want to say a big thank you for coming on the show this evening. I've had an amazing time. I can't wait to hear the announcement to say, yes, London, we are looking forward to seeing Chigul. And, should possibly be coming. Who knows? Maybe I'm just let you guys, get some information for free there. You never know. But Chigul, again.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much
for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome.
Thank you, Wanile London, Wanile abroad, Wanile overseas. Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Have a fantastic week ahead.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.